Welcome to Spectator Sporting on SpectatorSporting.com. I'm Zach Roach.
I'm Adewale.
Make sure you go to SpectatorSporting.com. Bunch of shows on there, bunch of clips of our previous shows. My man right here has wrote some great articles. You can comment, agree or disagree with them. Go check it out. It is big time. We got a big show for you today. We talking NBA playoffs, and it was a huge NFL draft last week, and we're gonna dive into that. But first, we're gonna go Western Conference playoffs. And first things we gotta talk about Houston Rockets and the Utah Jazz. Is it fair to say, Houston, we have a problem?
They do have a problem. They was down 19 points in the second quarter in game one. They came all the way back. I thought they was going to go ahead and win. I thought they was going to take over and win the game easily. But Utah had second thoughts about that. Eric Gordon, he had a big shot, a wide open shot towards the end of the game. It was about 90 seconds to go in the game. He missed a wide open shot. Everything was downhill from there. And the Houston Rockets, they allowed the Utah Jazz to steal home court advantage.
Utah is showing everybody, including me, their mental toughness is insane. They are really tough. After losing, because you would think after that Game 5 against OKC, where they had that big 25-point lead and let OKC come back and win. Mm-hmm. Most teams, that'd be it for them. That'd be it. But they was able to respond and come back and win Game 6. Then they lose. They get clobbered in Game 1. I mean, absolutely clobbered in Game 1. No Rubio. Mm-hmm. They've lost a lot of players. They've traded George Hill. A lot of these players on Cleveland now. Mm-hmm. They got and they still show. They come back in Game 2 and still a big one in Houston. What would you think the main reason they won this game too?
I'm going with a guy, a very underrated guy, Joe Ingles. All right, he was cut by the Clippers 4 years ago. Mm-hmm. He was 7 for 9 from 3-point range, 10 for 13 from the field, and he had 27 points. He was the player of the game in Game 2 against the Houston Rockets.
Absolutely, no question. And also, Ingles he's a good defender. Mm-hmm. I mean, he harassed Paul George in that OKC series all series long.
Right.
And he's a good defender. And Donovan Mitchell playing pretty much the point guard game, giving you 17 points, 11 assists in the play of the playoffs, where you can argue, but one of the best plays we've seen in the playoffs, the little Euro step short and just explodes and tip dunks it. That dude is big time.
The dunk champion.
Yes.
The slam dunk champion.
That dude is big time. They're going back to Utah, one of the hardest arenas to play in the NBA. Mm-hmm. We're going to see what James Harden and Chris Paul are really made of, because it's finna get real. Golden State.
Right.
Some people doubted Golden State.
Right.
No Steph. They wasn't playing as good towards the end of the season, but the playoffs have came around. Everything's back to normal. Regular schedule program from Golden State. Is it fair to say?
Yes, it is. The Pelicans, they did make them sweat in Game 2. They was only down 3 points, but Andre Iguodala, very underrated player for the Golden State Warriors. He got a steal. He had a fast break, and he dunked the ball. The ball went all the way up in the air and went in for the and one. And from there on, then KD took over. The man looked silky smooth. He's smooth like hot butter. No one can stop him. And it was just downhill from there for New Orleans.
Absolutely. And then Steph Curry back. First game. Oh, he hasn't played in a long time. He's going to be a little rusty. Not at all. Mm-hmm. He comes right in the game, hits a 3, then comes right back and hits a 30-footer, long 3, and it was just lights out. Now the Pelicans did play a good game. Mm-hmm. The Drew Holidays, they're playing tough. But it's just they play at that fast-paced, up-tempo game, but that's playing right into Golden State hands.
Right.
And that's the way they want to play. And Clay's just been fabulous all playoffs for the Golden State Warriors. So is it fair to say they're up 2-0? So and they always say a series doesn't start until the home team loses.
Right.
Is it fair to say, though, that Golden State should be the prohibited favorite going forward now?
Oh, yeah. They was always the favorite in my book, even with the Curry injury.
Yes.
Because it's like they just traded Curry for Kevin Durant. All right, so now for the Pelicans to have a chance, they need more help from their bench. All right, Solomon Hill and Ian Clark and Darius Miller. They combined for 9 points off the bench. Those are their main bench players. They need more help off the bench to help out them starters who was balling out in Game 2 in Golden State.
Is it you still have Golden State versus Houston in the Western Conference Finals?
Yes, no doubt about that. Well, Houston's making me sweat a little bit. I think they'll overcome Utah, though.
You think they'll overcome?
Yeah.
Okay. I think so too. I'm still going with that. Pelicans is a good team, but I just think Golden State right now, they rested. They kind of coasted their way to the end of the season, and now they got their firepower back. And now Steph is back. He's going to start on Game 3. Steve Kerr's already announced it. So it's going to be really tough to beat them. You're watching Spectator Sporting on SpectatorSporting.com. When we come back, we're going to talk Eastern Conference playoff. Welcome back to Spectator Sporting, sponsored by SpectatorSporting.com. I'm Zach Roach.
I'm Adewale.
Make sure you go to SpectatorSporting.com. Videos, clips of this show, clips of previous shows, and also get the schedule of upcoming shows. Go ahead and check it out. Eastern Conference playoffs. Cavs and Raptors. Now, the last thing we want to say is it's the same old Raptors.
Right.
But after watching game one, it was the same old Raptors. They had a big lead. They dominate the game for the most part and could not put the game away. Now they've worked super hard to get that #1 seed, and it's already gone. Is it over for the Raptors already?
It's not over yet. Yes, like you said, it was up 10 points in the fourth quarter, but of course, LeBron and the Cavs came all the way back in the game. With under 10 seconds to go with a tie game, Van Fleet, he had a wide open three to a potential game winner. He misses it. DeRozan, Valanciunas, and CJ Miles all had chances to get the offensive rebound and put it back in. They all missed, and then they ended up losing in overtime. And you got to give credit to J.R. Smith, Cal Corver. Both of those guys hit 5 threes. And even Tristan Thompson, he came up, he stepped up, he came out of the witness protection program, and he came through with 14 points and 12 rebounds.
Tristan, the last 2 games, the game 7 against the Pacers and the game 1 against the Raptors, he's shown up and he's proven to be a force. He's getting back to that guy for those 2 games. Now we'll see if this continues.
Right.
But for these last 2 games, it looked like the old Tristan Thompson with high energy, getting offensive rebounds. Haven't seen that in a while from him. So for Cleveland's sake, they hope he keeps that going and keeps that up. I mean, it's already talking. They should put him in center and put Love on the bench. But I'm really nervous for the Toronto Raptors because this was a big loss. I mean, they leading up. They want to show they're tired of people like me, you, and everybody saying they're just pretenders. We know what they're going to do when they get in the playoffs. And right away, as soon as you see Bron in the first round of the playoffs, you have a chance to beat him. You can't put him away. And then it's just down. Now you're down 1-0. So I just wonder what their psyche is going to be. I picked the series to go 7, but I look wrong on this. Am I overreacting?
Well, no, you're not overreacting. I picked the Cavs in 5.
So you were smart.
And you know what? The Raptors, they lost 7 straight games to LeBron James in the playoffs. 7 straight games, all right? And you know what? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to have some sympathy for Toronto right now. When Kevin Love elbowed DeMar DeRozan in the jaw.
That should have been a flagrant.
Right. Toronto was up 2 points with 1 minute and 10 seconds to go. That should have been a flagrant foul. 2 free throws, ball on the side. Toronto probably would have won that game if the refs got it right.
Yeah, you can argue that. But at the end of the day, Toronto was up 10 in the fourth quarter, and they did not finish it off. And they had plenty of opportunities to get it done.
True.
Philadelphia and the Celtics. The Celtics are just shutting everybody up right now. You know, they was not favored against the Bucks. They're not favored against Philly. Philly is the new sensation.
Right.
You know, pretty much everybody's forgetting about the Boston Celtics as Philly's going to be the team to knock off Bron, but Boston has something else to say.
They do.
They're not going quietly. What is your take on this series so far?
Well, Philadelphia's supporting cast finally cooled off. They was on fire against the Miami Heat. All right, Bellinelli, Covington, and Ilyasova combined for 5 for 24 from the field in Game 1 against Boston. Ben Simmons had 7 turnovers and was 6 for 11 from the free throw line. All right, that's not going to cut it, but you got to give Boston credit. No Kyrie Irving, no Jaylen Brown, but Terry Rozier. I'm just waiting for this guy to cool off.
Yes, I think Philly going in the game too. They need to really find a way because Terry Rozier, if he's the one that's got to check Ben Simmons, they really got to explore them putting him in the post because Rozier's on fire right now. So they have to start attacking. You got to treat him differently now.
Right.
You got to. They have to attack him on the opposite end and make him play defense, run him through as many screens because he is. This playoff is a coming out part. He's making himself a lot of money right now.
Yes, no doubt.
Him and Jason Tatum doesn't look like a rookie out there. He don't look like a rookie. He's looked like he's been playing this game for years now. And Al Horford, we've had discussions about Al Horford. We always say, well, look at Al Horford numbers. How is he an all-star? Al Horford is showing people why he's an all-star.
Man, that 15-foot is automatic, man.
And he's a gamer. He's a guy. He's the guy that leads that team. He gets them going. He's the unquestioned leader.
He's earned my respect.
Yeah, he's the unquestioned leader of that team. Al Horford, we got to start respecting guys like Al Horford and Draymond Green.
But I do got to tell you now, Philadelphia is looking real silly right now. They traded the Lakers' conditioned first-round pick to move up from number 3 up to number 1 to take Markelle Fultz, who's sitting looking confused on the bench, and pass up on Jason Tatum, who went number 3 to the Boston Celtics. He had 28 points. Man, if they can switch that trade, they'll do that in a heartbeat.
I'm pretty sure they would, but nobody expected folks to get hurt. And Philly tinkered with his jumper or something, and I don't know what happened. So it's too early to say that. I'm not gonna say that. We'll see next year, but right now, of course, Philly would rather have Jason Tatum. Now, there is a looming situation going down in OKC right now. Right, they just lost in 6 games to the Utah Jazz. Now, when they put Paul George, Carmelo Anthony, and Russell Westbrook together, the goal was not to lose in the first round.
Right.
So with that being said, Paul George, unrestricted free agency, he's going to be a hot ticket. A lot of teams are going to grab them. They're going to throw a lot of money at him. What do you think is going to happen with this OK situation? And in your opinion, what should Paul George do?
Well, Paul George should get out of there. He should do exactly what Kevin Durant did. He should do what...
Is that a revelation?
Yeah. Seems like... And also, look at Victor Oladipo.
Yes.
When he left OKC and he went to the Pacers, he looked great. So, Paul George is out of there, man. He needs to go. Like you was talking about... You took up for Kevin Durant. You was one of the few people who took up for him for leaving OKC. And... Russell Westbrook, how many shots did he shoot?
He shot 43. Well, even the game they came back and won, he shot 39. He was 13 for 39, but he got hot in the second half. Then the second game, he shot 43 shots, but he shot 19 threes. 19 threes. Look, I am a Russell Westbrook fan. To me, he's still must-see TV. There's no question about it. But he's hard to play with.
Yeah.
And it's hard to get a rhythm with a guy playing. That's your point guard shooting that many times. It's hard to get a rhythm playing with him.
Right.
It's ball dominant guy. LeBron's a ball dominant guy. Chris Paul's a James Harden a ball dominant.
But LeBron, you never see him shooting 40 shots, 19 threes and stuff.
And James Harden, he's a way better shooter than Russell Westbrook. And I don't even know if he shot 19. I don't even see Steph shoot 19 threes.
Right.
So it's a tough situation. I think Russell Westbrook is becoming like Allen Iverson in a sense where I don't know if he can play with another superstar. I think you got to have role players, rebounders, and shooters who can spot up and shoot threes and just play with him and let him do him.
Yeah. Russell Westbrook, he doesn't care about efficiency.
Yeah.
You know, he doesn't care about that. So, yeah, he's going to need just a bunch of role players to play with him. A big man to get a bunch of rebounds and a bunch of role players, kind of like what AI had. Yeah, exactly.
So, if Russell Westbrook doesn't feel a certain way now, did before, this got to be eating at him. It's got to be. Kevin Durant goes win a championship. He's all happy. Victor Oladipo goes be an all-star. James Harden is about to win MVP. He's had all these guys. He's had all of them. Now, he's won MVP too, and he's averaged triple-double 2 years in a row. That hasn't been done since Oscar Robertson. So that's incredible.
Right.
But he's got to be looking like, man, these guys are winning. They are advancing.
Right.
And I'm going home again in the first round.
Going fishing.
Yeah, and that's unbelievable. So, yeah, I agree. I think Paul George is out of there. You're watching Spectator Sporting on SpectatorSporting.com. When we come back, we talking NFL Draft. How did the Bears do? We'll let you know. Welcome back to Spectator Sporting. I'm Zach Roach.
I'm Adewale.
Check us out on SpectatorSporting.com for clips, full shows, articles written by my man right here, and much more. Go ahead and check it out. NFL Draft. A lot of teams, win the Super Bowl off a good draft.
Right.
Some teams, they change their whole identity. Everything is different and flipped. So looking back, our Chicago Bears had a lot of needs. We got a new head coach in Matt Nagy. Ryan Pace, he wanted the trade. He got his trade in.
Right.
He got his one trade in.
Right.
How did you assess overall the Bears draft?
Well, yeah, I think it was good overall. I give it a B overall, and we got Roquan Smith in the first round, so I think that was decent. Looked like he went with best player available. He addressed some needs, so I give it a B overall.
I agree. B. I thought where they drafted at and what they got was good. I thought that them trading into the second round was huge.
Right.
I thought that was big. Getting a receiver. We both been clamoring for them to draft a receiver. I know you was irritated when they let go of the Karen Meredith.
Yeah.
So you was like, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? So I guess this was their plan all along. We're gonna get one in the draft, and they got a good one.
Right.
A really good one that's gonna fit Matt Nagy's system. Bears did so I give them a B. We'll see how these players pan out. We'll see how they're coached up.
Right.
Which player in particular are you looking to see?
Well, yeah, in the second round, the guy, James Daniels, they took him. He was rated as the number 2 center in the draft.
Yes.
The Cincinnati Bengals drafted Billy Price from Ohio State with the number 21 pick in the first round. He went ahead of James Daniels. Also, another center with the number 20 pick, the Detroit Lions took Frank Ragnow from Arkansas, a center playing for the Detroit Lions. But we got the third center drafted in the NFL draft, but it looked like we got good value because he was rated number 2. Yeah. So the only thing is, his weaknesses is he's a little undersized. He's only a few cupcakes above 300 pounds, but he's only 20 years old, all right? You know he's going to grow. He can put on 15 pounds in one offseason. So in his strengths, he's athletic. He can get out there and screens. He can pull, and he can even block safeties out there in the open field and slash on the block. So he's a good. He's going to get the running game going for the Bears and even in the screen game for Mitch Trubisky. So,
and I think that was they wanted to upgrade the line somehow, some way, because they had a center who was playing center that really was not a center.
Yeah, Cody Whitehair.
Yeah, he's really a guard.
Yeah, and you're right, because they drafted him to play guard.
Yeah.
But the problem is, Ryan Pace said they want to put James Daniels at guard, and so that's why I didn't like it. And he kind of threw me off with that one.
Sometimes these NFL teams, let me tell you something about some of these NFL teams. When you draft a player, why not just play him at the position that they played their whole entire life?
Right. Well, he played some guard in college, but he ended his last year playing center.
And that's what made it. And he's the second-rated center according to the draft experts, right?
Right.
Why not play him at center?
And put Cody Whitehair at guard, his natural position.
At his natural position.
Right,
we got to stop trying to change everybody's position sometimes.
Right.
Sometimes I understand, I get it, but stop trying to change everybody's position. But, like, you highlighted the reasons I like him, though, because the athleticism. And Matt Nagy, is going to run a lot of screen passes. It's going to be a lot of sweeps and runs. It's going to be a lot of inside cuts, and you need quick linemen to do that. So I can understand why they got him. What do you think of Anthony Miller?
Yeah, Anthony Miller, he was a walk-on at Memphis, all right? But his stats are eye-popping, all right? In the last 2 seasons, he had 191 catches, 2,900 yards, and 33 touchdowns, all right? So the Bears, they traded a 2018 4th-round pick and a 2019 2nd-round pick to New England to move back up into the 2nd-round pick and take Anthony Miller. I'm not tripping on it because we got 2 2nd-round picks in this draft, and it just means we don't have a 2nd-round pick in the 2019 draft, and we gave up one of our 2 4th-round picks in 2018. They didn't give up as much as people think. I like the trade for Anthony Miller, one of my favorite wide receivers in the draft.
I definitely like the trade, and when you have a glaring need at wide receiver like the Bears have, you solidified it. You went out and got Robinson in free agency. Now you go get Anthony Miller, and you get a tight end. So they're really trying to make sure this Mitch thing works out.
Yeah, they doing the most Mitch. And the one thing about Anthony Miller, reason why he fell to the 2nd round is because he's a 23-year-old rookie. He's kind of old for a rookie because in his freshman year, he walked on. He redshirted his freshman year. His sophomore year, he had a shoulder injury, so he was out in his entire sophomore year. So he didn't really start playing until his junior year in college. And so also he's 5'11". People knock him because he's 5'11". But think about this: Odell Beckham Jr. is 5'11". Antonio Brown is 5'10". So don't let that fool you. Okay.
Do not let the size fool you. Before we go into the best and worst drafts, let's just touch on real quick about the other Bears picks. We talked about the 1st and 2nd round picks. I'm just going to throw some names out there for you. Western Kentucky, after the Bears' 4th round pick, Joel Boonye.
Yeah, right.
Did I say that right?
Booney,
okay.
Right.
Or Joel Iggy. If Iggy's easy for you, say that. What's your thoughts on him?
Yeah, the guy, both his parents are from Nigeria. He was actually born in Chicago, all right? So he went to Western Kentucky. In his 2016 year, he played middle linebacker. Oh no, I'm sorry. In 2016, he played outside linebacker. Then he changed to inside linebacker in 2017, where he had 116 tackles and 11 tackles for loss. All right, he has great closing speed on ball carriers. When you watch the highlights, you see this guy just coming out of nowhere, tackling people. But the knock on him, the reason why he fell to the 4th round, because he went to a small school, Western Kentucky, and so hopefully the Bears found a hidden gem.
Bilal Nichols, defensive tackle, Delaware.
Yeah, he's a big guy. He's 306 pounds, 6'4". He ran a 4.95 40. That's good for a big guy, defensive lineman. He played in a 3-4 defense last year. He had 6.5 tackles for loss, 5.5 sacks, 4 pass breakups. Here's another guy that slipped in the draft because he went to a small school. He went to Delaware, and so hopefully he pitches Jonathan Bullard and Roy Robinson Harris for that to get in the rotation in the Bears 3-4 defense next year.
Kylie Fitz, outside linebacker from Utah.
Kylie Fitz, he's an interesting player. And he only played 1 full season in college. It was his red shirt sophomore year. It was a good season. He had 8 tackles for loss, 7 sacks, 4 forced fumbles. Okay, but in the last 2 seasons, he only played 10 games. He had a shoulder injury, an ankle injury, and a foot injury. But he's saying those was freak accidents. He thinks he just had some bad luck and those injuries are behind him. He's been working hard. He's 6'4", 260. Hopefully the Bears can get him in as a situational edge rusher if he stays healthy.
Another wide receiver, Javon Wims from Georgia.
All right, Javon Wims. He may be a hidden gem. Now, keep in mind, Ryan Pace have never had a good pick after the 5th round in his career with the Bears. So hopefully this guy, I think Wims could be that guy, all right? His first 2 years in college was at junior college. Then his first year as a junior at Georgia, he didn't really play that much. He didn't start, but last year as a senior, he started for the first time. He led Georgia in receptions, yards, and touchdowns. He had 720 yards, 7 touchdown receptions, okay? So this guy is 6'3", 215. He's a big guy. It's just that he didn't get a lot of separation in his routes, but he's a guy he has a big chip on his shoulder. He's been rising up, and hopefully he can keep ascending and getting to the Bears rotation and give Mr. Trubisky a big target out there.
Absolutely. I mean, the Bears, the competition is wide open at receiver, so who knows? He could be the guy, one of the guys that make the team and be a player for him. Right.
The only thing is about the Bears draft, if I look at it, overall grade, like I said, I gave him a B. But the reason why I did give him an A is because they selected James Daniels, who are, he's 20 years old. Hopefully he can be a solid player. But they passed up on 2 edge rushers, all right? Harold Landry, he went to the Tennessee Titans. We passed up on him. And we another guy named Nwusu, who plays for the San Diego Chargers. He's another edge rusher. Both guys are speedy edge rushers.
The Chargers got another rusher?
Another one. They got another edge rusher. So, so the Bears could have had him. So we took James Daniels instead of those 2 guys who went in the 2nd round. Harold Landry went number 41, and Nwusu went number 48 to the Chargers. So, and we still have a need for edge rusher on the Bears team.
I agree with that. They didn't get that coveted edge rusher that we wanted, but they had so many needs, so it's kind of hard to pinpoint the Bears, because if they didn't get no linebackers, we'd be like, well, they didn't get a linebacker. If they didn't get a receiver, we'd be like, why they didn't get a receiver? That team, the Bears had a lot of needs at the end of the day. Looking around the whole landscape of the NFL, looking at all the teams and what everybody drafted, who do you think, in your opinion, had the best draft?
The best draft, San Diego Chargers. They got, to me, the best safety in the draft, Derwin James. He fell all the way down to number 17.
That was unbelievable. I did not think he was going to fall that far.
Yeah, I thought he was going to go number 7 to Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
But this guy is 6'2", 210 pounds. He's a thumper. He's very intimidating compared to Cam Chancellor. All right. In the 2nd round, they drafted the guy who I want the Bears to get, Nwusu, the edge rusher. He's going to be playing behind Joey Bosa and Melvin Ingram.
Oh, damn.
So that's going to be a hell of a rotation for you right there.
Absolutely.
Also, the San Diego Chargers was the worst team in the NFL by allowing 4.9 yards per attempt, per rushing attempt. In the NFL, their rushing defense was horrible, so they drafted a defensive tackle from North Carolina State, Justin Jones. Let me make sure I get this man's name right here. Don't want to mess up his name. Yeah, Justin Jones from NC State. They drafted him. He's a run-stuffing defensive lineman, and so they can put teams in obvious passing situations and let Joey Bosa and the boys go after the quarterback.
Go after it. What team maybe you say that's not being talked about, you was like, you know what, they have a pretty good draft. Watch out for them.
The Indianapolis Colts, all right? They took Quentin Taekwondo Nelson. Yes, the man knows Taekwondo.
The best guard of all time, right? The best draft.
right. Everyone says this guy's he's a Hall of Famer already. He didn't play a game yet.
Right.
So, yeah, they stayed at number 6 and they drafted him. There was a lot of teams trying to trade up to the number 6 spot, to take Allen for Wyoming, the quarterback.
Yeah.
Also, they was trying to get Josh Rosen, but the Colts stayed there. They took Quentin Nelson. Also, in the second round, they took another offensive guard. They took Brandon Smith from Auburn. So, they want Andrew Luck to...
That was their objective. Like Andrew Luck, let's just call the Colts what it is. It is a shame how bad that offensive line has been. When you got a quarterback like Andrew Luck and you never went out there and got the proper protection, it took you this long to finally say, let's get somebody that can block for him.
They did it this draft, so hopefully they can keep him off the turf.
Now, those were some of the good drafts you thought.
Right.
Who was the worst one? Like, who was like, I can't believe they did that?
Yeah, this team fumbled, all right? The Dallas Cowboys, they hosted the draft and had the worst draft, okay? They took the man Vander Eck over, he's a middle linebacker, Vander Eck from Boise State, all right? And they drafted him over Calvin Ridley. I'm thinking they're going to take Calvin Ridley. With
the obvious loss of Dez Bryant, they needed, and it's such the need for a receiver, you would think that too.
Right. And so this linebacker from Boise State, he's a one-hit wonder. He had one good season at Boise State, all right? If you had to take a middle linebacker, you should have took the Alabama inside linebacker, Rashaan Evans. He's a much more polished guy if you want to put him in the middle of the defense. Also, in the second round, you go ahead and take an offensive guard, but he only played 2 games last year. So what are you doing, Jerry Jones? I think he fumbled his draft.
What's somebody that that's not been talked about when we look back on him, like that draft kind of what hurt them as well? Is it another team that you see out there?
Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah.
All right, the Seattle Seahawks, they kind of blew it for me. When the problem with the Seahawks last year, you kept seeing Russell Wilson running for his life.
He was running all the time. He was running and running and running.
I mean, the D line, the front sevens from other teams just easily got in the backfield. Their running game was non-existent. And guess what? They didn't take an offensive lineman until the 5th round of the draft. They took Jamarco Jones from Ohio State University. Hopefully he can turn to something, but they took him in the 5th round. You should have got an offensive lineman in the 1st round, the 2nd round, something like that. So Russell Wilson get ready to run around some more, buddy.
Yes, Seattle been playing with fire for a few years now. We're not drafting or getting the proper offensive lineman to block for Russell Wilson. You got a franchise quarterback. You got to protect your franchise quarterback.
Right.
And you just paid him a lot of money. You got to make sure he's safe back there. You've been watching Spectator Sporting on SpectatorSporting.com. Make sure you go to SpectatorSporting.com for this show as well as other shows. We're going to have the clips of this shows. We're going to have hot discussions and much more. But until then, when we be back, we're going to be back in a couple weeks. We're going to be talking more NBA playoffs, and we're going to have our NBA season awards show right here on Spectator Sporting. We're going to give you our thoughts. Until then.
Also, a mock draft.
Yes, NBA mock draft.
Yeah, the NBA lottery's coming on May 15th.
So we'll give you a mock draft as well, too. Anything else I forget?
Hopefully the Bulls get the #1 pick in the draft in the lottery.
You've been watching Spectator Sporting on SpectatorSporting.com. We out.
Yeah. Let's go. Looking in the mirror to get my mind clear. Trying to figure out what is happening here.